Hello everybody and welcome to the About series, the series where we interview your favorite YouTubers so we can learn more about them. Today we have Fitz. He's a New Zealand YouTuber. He does funtages. He does all kinds of stuff. He's all over Twitter and all over YouTube. He's been getting pretty big recently. Say hello, Fitz.
What's up, guys?
Are you ready for the interview today, Fitz?
I most certainly am. Let's go. Okay,
he's all prepared. So straight off the bat, I want to ask you, how much footage do you usually require to make a video?
It depends, varies every time. I mean, it can be, it really just depends on how funny the footage is, I guess, but I tend to be looking over hours of footage. Like, for instance, in the last 5 days, I've got about 5 hours of CS footage, 6 hours of CS footage that I'm looking over. And I'll probably end up using all of that, if not, most of it, for one around 10-minute video. So it's quite a lot of footage that I just throw away because it's just downtime or wasn't being funny. So a lot, basically. You gotta have a big hard drive.
Yeah, well, I understand that when it comes to comedy videos, the best thing to do is cut it down and keep cutting it down until you've just got it to the funniest moments.
Yeah.
So say you've got 6 hours of footage, how much of that footage do you reckon would be used?
I tend to when I'm separating the footage, I just separate anything that's even remotely funny or could potentially be used. And I'll normally end up with about, let's say I'll end up with 30 minutes for that 6 hours. But even though I got that 30 minutes, I'd still probably only use the best 10 minutes of that 30 minutes and just throw away the rest because I like making sure that the jokes are really funny or they really connect or the video flows well. So, it varies a lot, obviously, but generally it would be less than 30 minutes for every 6 hours, I'd say, maybe.
Well, I feel like a lot of people on YouTube just assume that, people as funny as you, people that make the kind of videos that you do, they just hit record for 30 minutes, they let their mates know that they're recording, and then they've got enough footage out of 30 minutes to make a whole entire funtage video. But what you're saying is it can often take hours, and depending on how you feel, sometimes it might even take days of recorded footage to try and find that one good moment that you can use in your video.
Yeah, it depends on the style you're going for, but if you're the kind of quick cut, joke after joke sort of YouTuber, or, that's kind of what funtages are, generally it'll be a lot of downtime and you're really only kind of extracting the gems from a big, play session with your friends.
Yeah, well, I really like that response because I've tried doing it myself. It took a lot longer than I expected, and you often find yourself just cutting and cutting and cutting and cutting, and what could end up starting off as a 30-minute video quickly turns into a 10-minute video, or sometimes it could even be 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a very important question that I have, because sometimes I struggle to get into the right mindset for YouTube when you're low energy, when you don't feel very motivated. How do you get into the right mindset? How do you get the energy to make your videos?
I think that this is an ongoing struggle with most YouTubers who kind of do what I do. I find that it relies a lot on factors outside of YouTube and the internet in general, exercise and diet and stuff. Literally, if I'm not exercising or my diet's gone to shit, I will be in a bad mood or I'll be really tired and lethargic and stuff. And I find that reflects a lot on the footage I have. So I find that just a healthy mental state and being a healthy positive outlook on how your life's going, it makes a world of difference. Otherwise you got to start playing it up and faking it, which is exactly the position I don't ever want to find myself in. I want to keep it genuine all the time, and I think it just depends on your mood in general. Obviously everyone has down days, everyone has weeks even where they just feel off and they're recording but nothing funny is really happening. But if you can't force it ever, because then you have that kind of layer of ingenuity, if that's even a word, to
we'll make it one. We'll make it one. No, that is such a good response, because I completely agree with what you're saying. Obviously, now that uni's come around, I'm not doing as much exercise, but I'm serious when I say that exercise and just trying to maintain a healthy diet is the best thing you could possibly do. It doesn't seem like that's the case. It feels like doing physical exercise would tire you out and make you feel less motivated, but it's completely the opposite. It releases endorphins, makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Do you usually work out before a video, or do you just try to exercise in general?
I've just got a regular schedule, and I try and stick to it as much as possible, just in the gym or running or whatever. Really, it's just as long as it's not necessarily every day, but as long as I'm keeping consistent with it, then I feel like really positive, and that helps a lot with just like being positive in game and with my friends and just having a laugh, really.
Well, and obviously you have a good friendship circle. You have that support there to make you feel, to make you keep going. Because I feel like a lot of people maybe don't have that friendship group that can make them, feel like they're motivated and get them to do things that they wouldn't usually do, get them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to someone, say they had their channel and they've been working on it for a while, they've been grinding at it, but then they just start to feel really demotivated, really down. Would you say the best thing to do would be to take a break from it, spend a few days to recover, try and rediscover yourself? Or do you reckon that they should go back into making videos even if they're in that mindset? Obviously, I think you said it's best to be in a good mindset to make videos. Otherwise, it will just come off as being fake.
This is a big thing on YouTube, and I think I speak for all YouTubers when I say that everyone experiences a lack of motivation at some point or another. Even if you're being really successful and your videos are doing well, sometimes you just, it's hard. Even if you're not a person who relies on positivity for your videos, just the creative aspect of making something all the time is draining, like in a way that other jobs perhaps wouldn't be. And I mean, to be honest with you, I probably don't handle this very well, and I'm not sure that anyone can really master handling this. It just depends on the kind of person you are, but I find that just sort of separating myself from it for a little bit, even if it's just a day, not thinking about YouTube, not thinking about hitting that record button and being funny, and just kind of going back to how you just, live life or play games before YouTube, and just, have a laugh with your friends that's just completely genuine, where there's no pressure. And that can often help you rediscover like that side of things, because it's very easy to get trapped in a mindset of like, okay, I'm always recording, like this is work time, like we've got to be funny, we've got to make some moments happen, as opposed to just enjoying the company of your friends and just kicking it back and having a laugh, which is more important, really.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people, and this is the reason why a lot of YouTubers sometimes fall off the radar and become demotivated, is because it just consumes their life.
Yeah.
Everything they do is YouTube related. They're doing their social media, everything. And I think that you're completely right. Best thing to do, take as much time as you need, just distance yourself from YouTube completely and just enjoy yourself and live life, and then come back to it when you've got a healthy mindset. I think that's a great response. I think that's perfect. Now this kind of falls into the last question. How do you manage your time? Because I know a lot of people have busy lives. I have a very busy schedule at the moment. Do you have any techniques that you use personally?
Well, I mean, I manage my time poorly, for one thing. It's just, it's all over the place. I'm sort of yet to ever fall into any sort of schedule with regards to YouTube or anything. And, part of that is just the way I sort of have always functioned. I've always been, bad at scheduling and working within the confines of a certain time frame. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just sort of the way I've always handled my life, I guess. I sort of just record when it suits me, which is oftentimes, I enjoy playing games, and then I kind of edit when I feel like it, or I think I just enjoy doing what I do. And so I find myself doing it on a regular basis, which sort of works for me.
Well, I feel like people fall into two different kinds of categories. People that need to work to a schedule, and people that can just kind of not work to a schedule but make it work out. I feel like some people actually work less efficiently when they have a schedule, because they have that pressure in the back of their head that I've got to do it at this time. And I feel like the whole thing about funtages is that it's unscripted moments, and that they just come to you when you're recording, and you have to be recording a lot of the time. And it's not something that you can just be like, all right, we got 5 hours. Let's all be funny for this 5 hours, and let's make some really funny moments.
Yep.
I think it's got to come naturally, and you've just got to do it, throughout your day-to-day life. Are you one of those people that can edit day by day, or do you have to like get it all done within a few days span? Because for me, when I have a video, I just want to get that thing finished. Like I will drop whatever I'm doing to edit it and complete it within a few days. Are you that like similar, or are you different?
I mean, I'm very much like a bulk worker in general. Like I kind of know at the back of my mind when I've got enough footage for a video, or when I can actually start the actual, process of editing. And when I am in that mindset, I'm very much just like, it's going to be 12-hour days, just like first day cutting up all the footage, getting all the clips that I need, second day beginning, the edit, third day finishing the video, and then releasing it the day after. I'm aware that it takes a lot of time to make my videos, and I want to upload as regularly as possible, but I can only do that when I have the footage ready. But yeah, when I've got that footage, it's go time. Like that's crunch time. Work's gonna get done. I've no issue with that. It's never been a thing about procrastination with making videos, because I enjoy the whole process. So.
Also because you upload a little less frequently than a lot of these other bigger, huge funtage Let's Play people, where they're uploading sometimes like 3 videos in a day. I think that's overkill. I think personally that's way too many videos to be releasing.
Yeah, I mean, that's flooding people's soapboxes, like 3 videos a day. I don't think I'd ever do that, even if I was capable of it.
Oh, yeah, it would be impossible. You'd have to be a bloody machine to, like, upload that much. I would be very down if that was me. I would not be able to do that. That would just be too consuming. I don't know how they would have time for anything else other than YouTube, and I bet they don't have any other time, to be honest. That's, like, a lot of work.
Yeah.
So now, my next question is, any tips and tricks for the audience? How did you grow your channel? Because I noticed that you have had the channel for a while, but in these last few months or so, it has just been blowing up.
Yeah, I really just started YouTube with the mindset that I think everyone should start with of, I just had a bit of free time. I was right after I finished school, and between the, holidays between school and university. So I just figured, YouTube's always something I wanted to try. I finally had the PC for it. So I was just going to start recording some little videos and just, having fun and making some stuff and uploading it and see where it takes me, kind of thing. Very much like low pressure, wasn't too fussed about it, just like a little hobby to entertain myself over the holidays. And, I really enjoyed the process, and I enjoyed the small amount of attention I was getting. Eventually moved to CS, and then kind of started, working a little harder as I started getting, plus, over 1,000 subs. And then there was a whole time between 1,000 and 10K where I was treating it more and more seriously, and my videos were getting exposure on websites like Reddit, because I think I was kind of hitting an angle that not many CS YouTubers were hitting at the time, and Reddit appreciated that, or I had something unique going on. And I just had this, real focus on making sure that everything on my channel, like no matter what video the person clicked on, that it was going to be entertaining to, a certain audience, and it was going to be a good quality video, or the best quality that I could manage. And that was kind of my mentality. So it only took one video one day. It was a video of me just shoutcasting this kid on Surf. He was raging. It went on Reddit quite big and got me like 50,000 views, which was huge for me. I was like 10K subs. And then from there, it just took off on recommended.
Snowball effect.
Yeah, it just snowballed onto recommended, and people were watching that video. They found it hilarious. And then because I had this previous focus of making sure that everything on my channel was really good, or at least as good as I can make it, people would look at my other videos and be like, oh damn, this guy actually puts in some considerable time into his channel. That's actually good content here. And then that's subscribe for more of that. So it was really just a focus on quality and not stressing out about it, and then just one day it paying off, which I think is kind of how it happens to everyone. Although it obviously pays to have a unique aspect to your channel, a certain twist, a certain quality that isn't really done too much before, for it to really spike something that will allow you to really ride the wave and grow quickly.
Yeah, well, I noticed that like pretty much all of your videos, even if you're going all the way back, because I like to go to the oldest videos to see the transformation and how they grew and how they changed. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised to find out that like all of your videos are getting like over 200,000. Like they're all consistently growing, like each and every single one of them. It doesn't matter how old it is. Even your H1Z1 raps are still growing. I'm sure that day by day they're gaining hundreds of views still.
Yeah.
So I think that's great. And another thing that you mentioned was Reddit and social media. And I feel like that's a huge part of this whole YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an active user of Reddit, or did you just happen to get somebody else that posted your video on a Reddit and then it just blew up, or do you do all the posting yourself?
No, when I was a small channel, I use Reddit every day, still use it every day. And, if I had a video that I thought was unique or was likely to grow on Reddit, then I would post it myself and just, see where it took me. I was never one to like spam myself with upvotes or repost it over and over again, but I just figured, I'll throw it up there and try and share my stuff with a wider audience and see if they appreciate it. And oftentimes they really did. And I got a lot of really positive feedback from Reddit. Even if, I didn't really gain any subscribers from those posts. It was,
Because I noticed that like even Chubbs, all the people that I've interviewed before, they all say social media is a huge aspect of it. Like it's very hard to grow organically without the use of social media on YouTube these days, seeing as it's so incredibly oversaturated. Just about every genre, every community is just oversaturated. I mean, there's millions of videos being uploaded to YouTube daily.
Yeah.
That's a lot of competition. So to be noticed, I reckon you've really got to push on that social media aspect.
Yeah, and there's no shame in that either. People often feel guilty about self-promotion or anything, but if you're not someone who's doing it for money, if you're just a person who's made something they're proud of, there's nothing wrong with wanting to share that with a wider audience, as long as you're doing it in a genuine and authentic way.
No spamming, no going onto people's comment sections and saying,
yeah,
I'm 1 sub away from 1,000, please subscribe. Yeah,
you should never beg. Yeah.
Never beg. I reckon just if you're genuine and you just kind of like put it out there, just, hey, this is my video, I made it. If you like it, watch it. You don't have to, like it. It's up to you. Just really genuine. Watch this if you want. And I think that's how you've benefited, is just being a super genuine person. Just, this is what I have. If you like it, subscribe. There you go. It's out there. Now, I notice that your face is out there. I don't know whether that's intentional by you. Have you actually ever shown your face, or is it just by other people showing your face? Or
no, I started streaming with a face cam at around 8K, and I a couple of times I've just thrown my face into videos as like an Easter egg. People were like, "Is that you? Like, is that a face reveal?" And I was just like, laughing at those kind of comments because yeah, it is me. And on Snapchat, regularly I have my face up on Snapchat, and my story gets quite a lot of views. So it's never been a secret. It's never something that I feel like I had to announce. That being said, people are still asking in the comments, like probably about 90% of my subscribers don't know how I look. So I think for 500K, I'll probably finally get around to actually doing a face cam video, like just dedicated to a Q&A or something like that. I don't know.
For me personally, I'm in the exact same boat. I don't really look at it as too much of a big deal. It's like, this is my face. I'm a normal human being. Surprise, surprise. And like it's the exact same with me. My face is out there. It's on Twitch. It doesn't mean though that I'm gonna I'm not big enough to be making a face reveal. I don't think anyone's gonna give a crap. And that's, no one has to be like, oh no, everyone will care. I understand. Like, I'm not that big. No one's gonna be like, oh, face reveal Splur TV. So I don't really see the point to doing it. But for someone like you, I definitely do see how doing a face reveal would be a big thing and everyone would want to, see it. The question that I have that's tied to this is, have you been noticed or recognized, and have you gained negative attention or positive attention from those recognition moments?
I've only been recognized once in real life, and it was when I was still below 100K, and it was actually from a guy that I know from a surf server. He's one of the moderators from ZTS, one of the Australian surf servers for CSGO. And, I was working in a restaurant at the time because I still, quit my job. I was still working at my old restaurant, and I was on the floor just waiting tables. And then I noticed this kid, or this guy, he's probably about 18, I think, on this big table, kind of just looking at me all the time. Like, he was kind of trying to get eye contact with me. And at first I thought is this dude like trying to hit on me or some shit? Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, this guy's kind of like really staring me down. I was in a different section, so I had like no way of interacting with him without just going up and talking to the guy. So I just kind of kept on going on with my shift, doing my work, and regularly like checking, is that guy still fucking looking at me? Like, what the fuck? And eventually like it clicked on my head, like, oh shit, maybe this guy like recognizes my face from my streams, or maybe you know, I know this guy from somewhere. So I kind of just like go up to him casually. I'm like, hey man, do I know you from somewhere? So I just noticed you kind of like staring at me, and he's like, yeah dude, I watch your streams, I'm a fan of your channel, and you know, we actually know each other from the surf server. And I'm like, holy shit dude, like that's fucking crazy. And no one at my restaurant kind of knew what I did at the time. Like no one knew my channel. It was very much like an undercover sort of thing. So, you know, he didn't ask for a selfie or anything, but I just kind of chatted to the guy for a bit, and then, you know, I added him on Snapchat, and we chatted afterwards and talked about how fucking funny that was, that he just kind of randomly ran into me.
I find that hilarious as well, how it didn't even connect, like, you didn't even connect the dots that maybe it's because of your YouTube channel, because I guess you kind of never really think that you're going to be getting noticed. I don't think that ever, like, sinks in to people, like, at the very start. Like, if someone was looking at me, I'd be going, what the absolute hell? Obviously, I'm on 4K subscribers. Even when you're on 100K, you're still thinking, what is this guy? Like, why is he looking at me?
Yeah.
And I guess that's never going to really, like, sink in properly, that people notice you. This is another question I have. Are you, like, open for people to come up and talk to you? Are you, like, one of those people that just kind of get out of my face? I don't really want to talk? Or are you like, come talk to me, say something? I'll
be flattered, dude. Like, it's better than them staring at me, you know? Just come say hello.
Yeah.
Like, it's I mean, it'll be obviously kind of probably a little awkward every time, but you know, I'd love that, just to meet fans in real life or whatever and hear what they have to say. And you know, I'd like to chat to them. I mean, I do it all the time in surf servers even. I mean, now it's kind of hard for me to join because I do get recognized a lot, and oftentimes it's a pretty toxic response, you know, even if it's just for attention as opposed to negativity. But, you know, I like to go on late at night and just kind of chat to some people pretty chill, and, you know, oftentimes they're aspiring YouTubers themselves, and I can give them some advice, and, you know, that kind of interaction means a lot to me.
Yeah, I'm sure it would mean a lot to everybody. It's encouraging to see viewers of yours.
Yeah.
You brought up a really interesting thing just before, how you said that you get toxic responses and stuff. I don't know if you know this guy. Do you know a guy called Zutha? He's got
No.
Gary's Mod YouTuber. But he talks a lot about how, because of the name he's gotten through the games he plays, people, when they see him, they know, oh, he's a YouTuber. So they try to pump out some funny jokes, or they try to exaggerate themselves so they can try and be on your video, or, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would be like, maybe I could become part of the Fitz crew if I really say some funny jokes right now.
Yeah.
Do you have a lot of people making it very toxic for you to record videos, and they notice it's you? Does it ever get like difficult to get footage because people are just trying to talk over each other, trying to get the spotlight on them? Does that ever happen?
No, that happens all the time. I normally, you know, if I'm in matchmaking, try and roll with a different name, but oftentimes they catch on to it pretty quick, and I can tell, like, some of these kids are sneaky. You know, they'll act like they don't recognize me. They won't say anything about it. They won't mention the fact that they know it's me, but I can just tell, like, by the way they're talking and the way they're exaggerating themselves, that they're trying to get in the video, and it just never works out because it's always forced, and I can always tell it's not them being genuine. You know, there've been a couple times where, you know, they're just genuinely funny people, and they won't necessarily bring up that they know my channel, but, you know, they crack some good jokes, and obviously that's fair play. You know, like, they were funny, I'm going to put them in a video if they were funny. But yeah, all the time people, you know, they'll try too hard, or they'll exaggerate, or they'll, you know, straight up recognize me and just start freaking out. And just, it's never the best way of going about it. It's just weird because to me, I'm just like a guy. Like, I wish they just have a conversation, like, which is fully available to them right now, as opposed to just screaming or doing some stupid shit.
So you just want people to just be themselves, just be genuine. And like, I don't think you're going to ever be the kind of person to judge someone if they're not as funny as their genuine self. But the worst thing I think that someone could do is, and it never works out, by the way, because I've done this before, really embarrassing. I might actually mention this now because I haven't mentioned it before.
All right.
I was on a Skype call, and there was Pyrocynical was in it. And now this whole thing has changed where I don't really look at these people as like huge YouTubers anymore. I try to see them as people. So I don't get as starstruck. But I just remember like totally disjointed from everything they were saying. I was just like, you know when you're just like masturbating in the bedroom and then your parents walk in and you look them in the eyes and you keep going to establish dominance?
No.
The whole fucking Skype call just went silent. The whole Skype call was completely silent. No. And I was just sitting there wanting to die the whole time. I just wanted like, I don't know, I wanted to sink through the ground and fall into the infinite void and never return. Don't force jokes. Please don't do it. It will make things so much more awkward. So that was one of the worst examples. And I always tell that to people. That's like the one time that I tried to force a joke. And one of the guys was even like, dude, that's not funny. And I was just like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I'm just cringing thinking about it right now. Now, how has YouTube affected your relationships? This is family, friends. Maybe you have a girlfriend. I'm not too sure. How has it affected your relationships?
Well, my main group of friends, or all my friends really know about my channel. My friends that I spend the most time with in real life are my current flatmates. And I met them at the start of last year when I was still at around 7K subs. That, you know, I didn't really know who they were, but I needed a place to stay, and you know, I saw their post on Facebook, so I hit them up about the flat. And right from the bat, you know, when I first met them, I told them that I had a channel and I kind of do it as a small hobby, and they were all, you know, gamers themselves and super chill guys, so they were obviously fine with it. And then, you know, obviously throughout that year, 2016, it took off, and you know, I was able to pursue it full time towards the end of it. And, you know, because they knew me from the start and they knew that it was just, you know, they knew the time I put into it and everything, and they knew me as a person, they obviously don't care. Like, they still just roast me daily. Like, there's no weirdness there about the channel. It's just like, you know, we're just mates, and this is just something I do, and, you know, they do their own things, and that's life. And then I've got other friends who I've known, like John, for instance, from my videos. I've known him since high school. Like, he always knows about the channel. And he's, you know, featured regularly because he's, you know, one of my best mates, and we're hilarious together, I think.
Yeah. No, you are. You're hilarious. You can say that. You can own up to that, mate. It's no problem. Yeah.
My family, I told my parents about it probably around 10K subs. Because it was at the time when, right after I'd finished my first year of university, it was a time where I was considering not going back for my second year. And I was telling them about YouTube and how this was like what I really wanted to do. But at its current stage, obviously I realized that it was, you know, not a full-time thing and likely would never be a full-time thing. But I admitted to them that I did YouTube and that it was a major hobby of mine and one of my major interests. And so I asked them, I said, look, do you think I should just take a year off and work full time and just pursue this on the side and put time into YouTube and see if it takes me anywhere? And they back that fully because they're amazing parents, and, you know, they've always wanted me to just be happy. So I sort of, you know, with their approval there, I, you know, dropped out of uni after my first year and got a restaurant job and all the rest. And now, you know, I didn't show them my channel at the time. I told them, like, at 50K subs, I'll show you my channel. Like, I'll show you my videos, because all of my videos are like mega inappropriate. And, you know, they're not the kind of parents that I'd swear around or anything. So, but yeah, no, after as I started growing, I obviously showed it to them, and, you know, they were really happy for me, and they're still, you know, super supportive. Like, my dad's always calling me up, like congratulating me on milestones and stuff, and like helping me through all sorts of other kind of, you know, more businessy side of things of YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they're amazing. Family's great about it.
That just makes me happy, man, because, you know, like, it's always great when you have family that support you on your decisions, and that's a huge thing. You know, the internet's brand new, and YouTube is you know, it can be stable and it can be unstable, but I just love that your parents would just like, go for it, give it a shot, you know, like, give it your best try. Because there's a lot of parents out there that would just kind of be like, don't follow the dreams. It's just going to get you hurt in the end of the day. I definitely have parents that are very supportive, and I'm sure if I said I want to pursue YouTube, they would let me. It's just a very hard decision to make. And I feel like it makes a lot of people uneasy, thinking of like, should I do this? Would it waste my time if I was to take some time off? And that's what I'm experiencing right now. I'm kind of like, should I do it? Would it waste time? Is it going to pay off? And obviously, I never consider YouTube a job, but it's a dream of mine. You know, it's a dream of everybody's, and you shouldn't not admit that. You know, just because you want it to be a job doesn't mean that's why you're doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never left university with the mentality that no matter what, I'm going to be a big YouTuber. Or,
you just wanted to give it a try.
Yeah, and it wasn't even that. It was just that I knew I wasn't enjoying university, and I knew that, you know, taking a year off to get some work experience wouldn't harm me necessarily in any way. And because that would allow me much more time to work on YouTube, and it would allow me to move into an apartment, you know, and move out of my parents' house or whatever, and kind of be a bit more independent, that it was just the kind of best move in general, because it would allow me to support YouTube as a hobby. Even if it didn't work out, it would allow me to get some time to think about what I wanted to do in future, which I think is something that not a lot of young people really have these days. You know, it's so fucking rushed.
You're really hitting close to home. This is creepy, dude. Because like I'm in like an exact same situation, and this is actually scaring the shit out of me. Because it's like I'm almost getting towards my first year of university, and I'm kind of like, I don't like it as much. You know, I can tolerate it, but I like doing YouTube. That's what I love to do, and I need that spare time. I haven't got much time at the moment to do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a position that like probably most people around your age or the age I was at were like, that's how they feel. Like a lot of people, you know, especially if they've gone straight into university or college right after school, like no time to think about what they're actually getting themselves into, sort of thing. It's very common, I think. I think the best thing to do is to just
figure yourself
take a
out.
year, and just, you know, suss it out and, you know, get a bit of a grip on what you want in life, because I think that's more important than rushing something and in the hopes of some career, some stability later on.
Yeah, I think you need time to think, because life moves so quickly, and you need to take some time to just step back and be like, what do I really want? And then if you don't know what you want, figure it out. You know, go get shitty jobs at restaurants. Go travel the world. Go get a good job. Maybe you might get a job out of, you know, the work experience that you've gained.
Yeah.
You know, you've just got to really put yourself out there and then figure out what you want to do from then.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what opportunities will come up. And I mean, my channel is like a living example of that, right? Like, no idea that this would work out or whatever. All I knew is that I was taking a year, and it did. And like, something came up and something, or, you know, even if it didn't, I'm sure that by now I would have a much better grip on what I wanted, sort of thing. Realistic expectations.
Well, like, experience shapes who you are, and like, you know, by putting yourself in situations that are good or bad, it's always going to change who you are for the better.
Yeah.
Whether you fail or whether you prosper, it always helps in the long run, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have off days? Because I noticed that a lot of people are going to look at your channel and just assume that you're on this high 24/7. You're always having funny moments with your friends. The Skype call is always just going off. Everybody's just they're bouncing off each other. They're being super hilarious. Do you have days where you're just like, holy shit, I do not feel like recording today. I feel dead.
I'd say that most days are probably off days. And, well, if not off days, you know, most days aren't really good days as far as recording goes, or my, you know, state of mind or my humor goes. There are days regularly that will happen where it's like you say, you know, everyone's on fire, everyone's just like in a great mood, everyone's feeling positive, and they're just telling jokes, and it's working really well, and everyone's bouncing off each other, and those are awesome days, and those are what makes up a majority of my videos. But a lot of the time it's just kind of, we're kind of tired, or we're dead, or, you know, people have, you know, come home from work and they're kind of had a shit day, or people are hungry, or didn't get enough sleep last night, and so we're just chilling, and, you know, someone will occasionally crack a hilarious joke, but we're just mates, we're just hanging out, and I just kind of make of that what I can as far as recording goes. I never want to pressure me or my friends to be funny for content.
That's awesome.
It's just kind of do your best to maintain a healthy and, you know, bouncy state of mind, and, you know, let the rest take care of itself, frankly, is the mentality, I'd say.
That's the best way to do it, man. Like, that's why I like to make my interviews very, like, chill. And I like to make sure that I'm not changing who I am as a normal person, because I feel like people really do work well with my interviews, and they often are portrayed as the best version of themselves because they don't feel like they have to be any kind of person at all. It's just like the genuine you. And I feel like people that are going to try and force their friends into this, like, let's be funny, guys, 3 hours. 3 hours, and if you're not funny, I'm kicking you from the call. Like, I think that's never going to work.
Yeah.
And this is actually very interesting, this question, because I just thought about it and I'm like, wow, does it ever feel like this sometimes? So obviously this, or maybe not obviously, is this a job for you?
Yeah, it is. This is my primary source of income. Occasional editing freelance work will present itself along the way, but YouTube is now my full-time job, despite my horrific upload schedule, which is difficult for that reason, because in a sense I feel really in debt for that opportunity and I feel bad when I don't upload. But at the same time, I know, like, from experience, that committing myself to a certain schedule really kills my humor and it really kills my content. There was a time where I uploaded twice a week for maybe 2 weeks. Twice a week isn't even that much, right? That's pretty standard for a Funny Moments YouTuber, but I was receiving comments all the time like, dude, you guys are forcing this way too much. Like, this is not funny. Even though the videos were getting decent views still, I was not happy with the quality of it. Not necessarily even the editing quality, but just like the actual content, the actual humor was like forced and it wasn't good. I was sort of just throwing that out the window and I sort of just ignore anyone who complains about it, because I know that what they want is the same consistency in terms of hilarity, and I know how to do that. And, I'm still at least somewhat regular with just over weekly uploads, which I think is good enough. It's the same for, YouTubers like Donkey or Soviet Womble. Their upload schedules are kind of all over the place.
But it pays off.
But it pays off because their content genuinely always hits the mark. And I kind of want myself to be in that position where people are aware of my upload schedule being a little bit shaky, but at the same time, they know when they see that video in their sub box that it's going to be fire. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be...
It's like a passion project. You put all your energy into it, and it's something you're proud of.
Yeah, and that's been the response. Like, it's been, I upload a video and it still gets the same reception every time. Like, people are like, damn, Fitz uploaded, got to drop everything. Like, damn, like, let's gotta click on this video kind of thing. Like, that's what it's been. And it's really paid off, I think, especially my recent content. I think it's been the funniest that it's ever been.
And I was saying to you before in the Discord that I feel like this actually, it's better not to flood sub boxes. Because I know that your channel is a living example of, if you make good videos on a relatively consistent schedule, like at least, once a week, maybe 2, 3, and that way people will watch your videos when they're released, because it's like you're waiting for it and you're like, oh, you made a new video, instead of like, oh, it's the same video every single day. And I feel like your view count really shows that.
Yeah, if I had committed to a schedule, I guarantee you that my stuff would already be going downhill. It wouldn't be getting, at least for my CS videos, the crazy like ratio that I've got now, where it's every one of my CS videos is getting much more than my subscriber count in terms of views. I
was going to say that now that YouTube is a job, you've got to obviously change your mindset slightly, ever so slightly, to the new change, because now it's a source of income. Does gaming, when you hit that record button, not just gaming on the side, but gaming when you're recording, does it feel like a chore sometimes? And does the mood kind of change? Sometimes does it feel like it's not as fun as if you're just sitting down in your boxes, just not giving a shit and just playing, not to record, just whatever?
It's tricky because I pretty much record all the time unless I'm playing competitive Overwatch, which is like the only game that I take seriously now. Like, I never play Counter-Strike, sit down and take it seriously on my own. Like, it's pretty much just a background for banter with my friends at this point. Like, I play Overwatch like seriously, like I'm trying to rank up. Like, I play with a few friends on the regular, and we try and like, win and stuff, which is awesome, but it's never something that I'd upload because it's not funny. So, the mentality is always, if I'm playing for fun, I'm recording, and I'm, getting whatever I can out of that, whether it's a good day or a bad day, it doesn't matter. but I've always got the software kind of running in the background. And, you know, I don't really think there's any kind of change in mentality, like, because I'm always aware of it being in the background. Like, it's just kind of become the way that gaming is now for me. And like, you know, it's like anything, you know, it's just like I've got all my footage there. I can just remove whatever I want. There's no pressure to be funny all the time, sort of thing.
So you just condition yourself to adapt to your recording 24/7 now, and you try to make it so that it's a frequent occurrence so that it doesn't feel different to you. It's just like, it's there.
There's no jarring there. Yeah, it's all good. It's all smooth.
That's a good technique, because honestly, I feel like some people, they game to have fun, and then they're like, now I'm going to game to record. And then that's when their like mentality changes and it feels different, and it doesn't feel like you're just playing just to, you know, every now and again have a funny moment. It feels like I have to perform for the camera now. So I like that you try to do it all the time. So you just get so used to it that you can't be asked trying to be funny 24/7, you know?
Yeah.
It just comes and it goes. Now, this happens to a lot of people, and this is partly a reason why I don't upload very consistently. Do you ever get upload anxiety? Have you ever made something that's a little bit different than what you're used to, and you're thinking, you love that video, you think it's great, but you're like, God, I hope this bangs, otherwise I'm going to be a little bit worried. Are you ever worried to push that video out there and put it into the public?
I get uploading anxiety like with every video because normally it's a project that I've put like, you know, on average 30 hours or more into. And even though I'm consciously funny, I'm consciously aware of the fact that it's funny at the beginning of the editing when I've got all my clips there. At the end of it, especially if I've stayed up till like 6 a.m. to get this thing out, it's like, I hate myself in this video. I've listened to these clips 100 times, syncing up subtitles and, you know, fixing audio and applying effects and stuff. And the jokes are so stale to me. And I'm like, dude, we are so unfunny. Why would anyone watch this? But I'm like, you know what? I have to remind myself that at the start, when I separated these clips and organized them in this order, this was a fire-ass video. And, you know, I'm going to upload this anyway because I know that the editing's on point and I've got to trust my past self with his judgment on the quality of these jokes. And so I upload it, and the next day I'll watch it and I'm like, oh, what the hell was I worried about? Like, this is funny as fuck. And I'll see like the likes and the comments coming in, and I know that I did a good job, which happens. You know, I've never had a video where I've been nervous about it and it hasn't paid off. You know, it's just me being critical of myself and getting tired of the repetitiveness of editing and listening to your voice and your jokes over and over again, really, more than anything.
Well, you mentioned a great point, because this has happened to me every single video, and I eventually clicked onto the point, because I was thinking every single one of my videos, before I upload it, I'm like, this is a pile of shit. This is awful. This is so freaking bad, dude. And like, sometimes you think it's so bad to the point where you're like, I'm cringing right now. This is awful. And then, you know, you got to realize though, that the average person is going to watch that video one time through and then never go back. Maybe they might watch it 5 times. But when you're editing, you are watching the same clips every single time. Repeat, go back, repeat. Watch it over 3 times to make sure that it's all good. And then eventually you're just like, Jesus Christ, this is boring. But you got to realize no person watches a movie 3 times, 4, 6, 7, 8 times in a row. They don't do that. You know, it's going to be fresh in people's minds when they see it. And I feel like you got to realize that if you thought it was good at the start, release it. Doesn't matter what you think at the time, release it. And if it gets bad feedback, who cares? You can build from that. You can, you know, get better.
Yeah.
I feel like you've just got to grow. You've just got to really just put it out there. And then if it receives negative attention, okay, don't do that again. If it receives positive attention, keep going. Keep doing it. So I feel like we've already talked about whether you've had creative block. We have already discussed this. Sometimes you're just feeling...
kind of covered that.
Yeah, we've touched base with that. This one's a bit interesting because I know that most YouTubers are from the UK, they're American. Personally, I'm Australian, and that affects me in certain ways. How does being New Zealand affect you in terms of YouTube, or it could even just be like in general? Because you've got American friends, obviously. 2 different time zones there.
I don't find that it really affects me in any way from an audience perspective, because none of them really realize that I am from New Zealand, because I've kind of got a different accent to what would be stereotypically considered like a Kiwi accent.
Yeah.
I've kind of got like a bit of American in there and a bit of Australian and a bit of like UK in a sense. And like, it's kind of like a weird mesh. So it's not like people listen to me like, oh, this guy's an Aussie or this guy's New Zealand. But, you know, obviously Australians and New Zealanders can pick up on that a lot better. And that's nice, because I'll get people from New Zealand in the comments being like, oh, damn, like, I didn't realize you were from New Zealand. That's awesome. Like, you know, they get to connect with me in that sense. Like, I'm a local YouTuber. As far as like time zones with my American friends goes, it doesn't really affect me that much, because I'm up like at all various times of the day. Like, I've got a very different sleep schedule. I'll, you know, have a few days where I wake up at 7 a.m. and go to bed at 12, and I'll have a few days where I stayed up till like 4 a.m. and I wake up at 10 or whatever, and I'm able to sync up with them and play just whenever they're free, kind of thing. Like, whether it's late for them or early for me, or late for me and early for them, we just kind of find a way to hang out. And you know, I never really found that it was a massive block. You know, it's the worst is really with like business and like trying to sync up calls with people for serious reasons, and you got to like factor in like, okay, they want to talk to me at like 9:30, you know, EST. Like, what the fuck does that mean, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's the only real time it affects me.
That shit sucks. I hate having to be like, oh, what time zone is it? Like, oh god. Because, like, you know, I originally thought, because I'm a bit of an idiot and I don't really care about geography, I just kind of assumed that, like, America is kind of roughly on the same time zone, but fuck no. No, there are all kinds of different time zones in America.
Yeah.
And, you know, speaking about that, I find it interesting that you mentioned that people can't recognize it, because for me, I'm able to identify that you're New Zealand. And maybe that's because I already knew beforehand that you were New Zealand when I was watching your videos. But my dad, I showed my dad, and he was like, where's this New Zealand guy? And I was like, well, he's right there. Can't you hear him? He's New Zealand. And he's like, yeah, I guess. You know, like, he really had to try to be like, oh, I guess I can kind of hear it. So to test this, say fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
There you go. You know that he hasn't got a very stereotypical accent, because even when I went over to New Zealand, people like fish and chops.
Fish and chips, bro.
Yeah, fish and chips, bro. Like, oh man, it's a totally different lifestyle in New Zealand. Like, I seem to find that like a lot of people, like, this isn't even a racist thing. I'm sure you'd agree. When people come over from New Zealand to Australia, I feel like New Zealand people have this very kind of loud, friendly personality. A lot of them. Yeah. Which is like, I reckon if you got like some another country that was really, you know, kept to themselves, very informal, and you put a New Zealander in there, it's going to be very awkward, because, you know, New Zealanders are very kind of like, they're a bit loud. They like to, you know, be friendly. And that's most of the people I've talked to that are New Zealand.
I'd say it's like the same difference between an American or a standard American accent and a Canadian accent. Like, they can be discerned if you look for the right cues, but largely they sound the same. That's kind of what it is, in a sense.
Well, I feel like once you're on YouTube and shit, your voice, and like if you consume crap tons of content like I do, your voice is just gonna become something else. Because I wouldn't say that I do sound really Australian. I can tell that people do recognize I'm Australian, but I definitely do I've been called Canadian a lot for some reason. It's always Canadian. Some people think I'm British. You know, I noticed that New Zealand also, they can sound, depending on where you're from, it can sound a little bit British, a New Zealand accent.
Yeah.
So that's really funny, because, you know, obviously I was able to identify. I mean, you can type in the comments if you were able to tell whether he was New Zealand or not. I'm actually kind of interested, because I always thought you sounded slightly New Zealand. Not really hardcore, but I knew it was always there. Now, this question, you know, it's always like on those documentaries. What's your success story? Now, are you driving in Lamborghinis? Are you doing all this high, you know, money stuff now? You got a high-rise apartment. How has YouTube affected your life? How has it changed your life, or it's just exactly the same as it was before, pretty much?
It's not really that different. Like, if people saw the apartment I'm living in now, they'd probably be quite shocked, because it's very much just a budget, like, university style apartment. Like I'm living with 4 friends. I'm just like pretty low key. Like, it's not like a super nice place or anything. I'm definitely, more well off than I was at my restaurant job, but not to the point where I'm, fucking buying my first car or anything, like, or looking to a house. Like I'm pretty low key as far as most things go. And I mean, especially, I could probably be much more well off if I uploaded more, but it's going to sound corny, but the money has never really been the objective. And I always would rather stick true to actually making decent content as opposed to pumping out garbage on a regular basis. I don't know. It's just...
I have a few questions. Are we going to see brand new car, YouTube money paid for, or ultimate setup? We're not going to get any of these, showing off your new Beamer that you just got. No,
I don't think so. I mean, for one thing, I just don't really care about cars. So my first car will probably be something like really stable and reliable.
Yeah, same with me, man.
But yeah, I'm not really the kind of person that ever flex my wealth, especially
exactly.
if I'm not particularly wealthy. So yeah,
I've never gotten that. I don't understand how people are like, oh, I've got money now, the first thing I'm going to buy is a really expensive car. To me, it's like, so what a car does is takes you from point A to point B. It can look pretty, but like, why would you really care? As long as it just gets you from point to point and it does that job well. I don't really see the point to like wanting to splash out $1 million on a brand new car. I think that's a little bit ridiculous, but I'm not a rev head, so I wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
Because so obviously it's not going to really affect you. You're always going to kind of want to keep it low key, not really spend your money like there's no tomorrow. I guess you're a bit more sensible with spending and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I'm not a big spender. I was sort of just, buy what I need and, try and live comfy. And that's pretty much all there is to it, I guess. Just kind of being smart about it. I still feel very much like I'm living, the college student life, and I'm budgeting and I'm, just being frugal when I can, sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
I'm certainly not in any position to start, tremendously spending lots of money and splashing it out everywhere.
Yeah. Do you ever plan on making different content, or is that too scary for you to think about right now?
It's definitely scary, but it's something that I believe will be necessary in the upcoming years. I want to buy a camera soon, and I want to obviously do this face cam Q&A sort of thing for the 500k milestone, and I might do things like that on a regular basis, or I might do other styles of content involving real life footage, or I definitely plan on branching out into other games. I've been branching out into Overwatch a little bit recently, which has been certainly less successful than CS, but still very well received by people who watch my content for me. So CS, I feel, is definitely in a position where it has an audience, but it is dying slowly, and it's, the game has suddenly become stale to an extent for me, because, you can only play video games so much and get so much enjoyment out of it. I've been playing it for 3 years now, and I've got, over 2,000 hours in the game, and I just can't take it seriously anymore. It's just, like I said earlier, a backdrop for having fun with my friends, which is still enjoyable to watch, even for someone who's not into CS. But what's really important is what's enjoyable to me, because, YouTube is sort of a two-way street in that sense. I've got to have fun to make videos fun. You know what I mean? Yeah, other games are definitely going to be coming up soon, and I can only hope that I can make that transition smooth and continue being successful as I kind of implement that into the channel. It's scary. It's definitely scary, and it's one of the major things that most content creators struggle with when they find an audience in something that's very specific, and how to convince that audience to continue watching other content because, for the personality that's behind it,
Well, I'm a big believer in, if you feel yourself getting comfortable, if you're in a comfortable spot, spice it up a little bit, do something to change it. And like me, I go through so many YouTube banners, logos, and I always like to make it fresh, I always want my next video to be like slightly different from the next.
Yeah.
But I believe that to be successful, you've got to learn to let go sometimes, because I know a lot of people have very strong opinions on these guys, but the FaZe members are actually very intelligent people, to be honest. I know a lot of people give them shit, but for example, their main thing was Call of Duty. That's all they ever did. They made Call of Duty comms, and then Call of Duty started dying. They had two decisions to make. They could either keep going and making YouTube videos about Call of Duty and then go down with it, go down with the ship, or they could jump ship and then move to a different style of content. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
They're all doing vlogs now. I don't think I see any Call of Duty videos coming out from those guys anymore. And it was because of that decision that actually saved their channels. And in fact, that it's bringing in more views than it was before.
Yeah. And one of the key parts of being able to do that successfully, I think, is having content that revolves around your personality and is enjoyable because of your personality, and that relies on that aspect of things for its entertainment value, at least to some extent. You know, it allows you to transition and move around, and people will still watch the video because it's your name and it's your humor and it's your self that they're watching. And that's sort of critical, I think, to the equation. It's obviously difficult for, let's say, a serious competitive CSGO YouTuber to transition to serious Overwatch videos, because their audience isn't watching those videos for them, is watching it because they want to see some high level CS, and they, likely will not be interested at all in Overwatch. So it's really quite a tricky phenomenon to grapple with as a creator. But it all depends on, I guess, your content and how smart you are with the transition and how gradual you make it.
That's a very good point, because I feel like if you want your channel to really survive and to have longevity, I really think the worst thing you could do is find a very, very specific style of content and then never shy away from it, ever. I think even if it does give you less views, you need to make those videos, because if people just get used to the one video that every time it's just consistently, oh, Fitz is making another CSGO funtage video.
Yeah.
And then you make that for a year, and then you go, I want to change it to Overwatch. It's going to be a shock to the system. Nobody's going to want to, agree with that. Maybe they will. It's very rare that happens, but I think you've got to really ease into different styles of content, which is what you're doing. You're like, every now and again, all right, Overwatch.
Yeah.
And then maybe you might start slowly transitioning into more Overwatch videos, and that's how you do it. You got to make it subtle and not like really, you can't shock your audience. You can't go from one style to the next. And I feel like this isn't me calling out these YouTubers. They were doing what they wanted to do at the time, and GTA YouTubers especially are really suffering because of this. Because they were making very specific videos like how to get this much money in GTA. And now that there isn't that style of content, because GTA is patching that stuff before they can even make a video on it, they don't know what to do anymore, and they're losing viewers, and they have to resort to really harsh clickbait to keep their channel afloat. So I feel like you really need to make sure that you're just not conditioning your audience to a specific style. Every now and again, just change it a little bit, and then go back to your other videos. You got to ease into it, I think. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy as a creator to be restricted and confined by what you know is going to get you easy views, as opposed to what is beneficial for your channel and how much you enjoy what is now your job long term. I could keep making CS videos, for a considerable long time and just only make CS videos and really run that ship into the ground. I could probably make a decent amount off it. I could, continue getting decent views until the game is completely irrelevant. But if I don't start adding in other elements and transitioning and showing that, hey, I've actually got a bit more to offer here, and this game's actually quite funny as well, and gradually kind of easing my audience into variety and accepting that variety, I'm going to be much more well off as a person, because I'll be able to play what I want and have fun with it. And as a result, the content will be more funny and my audience will be more happy long term.
And they'll watch you regardless.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've found that my Overwatch videos, I've only made 3, I think, but the response is getting more and more positive every time. And I'm now getting comments for those who actually click on the video in the first place, which is the main concern, being like, dude, this was just a genuinely funny video. I don't play this game, but you're making me want to buy this game. I watch Fitz for Fitz. Like, I love Fitz. Like, this was so funny. Like, you and your friends are so funny. It doesn't matter what you play, we watch for you. And it's, you know, those comments are really nice to see. There was, even though it got like less views, even though I can't complain, I still got a great ratio. Like, it's, I mean, it's really like more of a standard ratio that most YouTubers would hope for than like a failure in any sense. Like, I'm talking about my recent Overwatch video.
Yeah.
But it's more just the response was all positive. I got like maybe 3 comments being like, dude, I only watch CSGO. I don't like this game. This game sucks, the kind of thing. Like, maybe 3 or 4 comments, like that's being literal, would be negative.
Yeah, because for me, like, honestly, views mean a lot. They do mean a considerable amount on YouTube, but I think the most important thing for me is a like to dislike ratio and how much positive feedback there is to negative. If my video gets less views, but it still has the same positive like to dislike ratio, I'm satisfied with that. It means that I did achieve my job. The people were entertained that did watch it. And the people that probably didn't watch it, they didn't even click on the video at all because they weren't interested. So I think that's really good. You got to focus on the positives and like the ratios of like to dislike instead of like looking at views as strictly how good a video is done. Oh, this got this many views, it's good. This got this many views, it's bad. You can't do that. You got to look at it from, you know, how it's being received by your audience. That's what really matters, I think. Now, any plans for the future? Do you plan on branching out onto different platforms?
I plan on starting a podcast sometime this year. I've been planning on doing one with John for the longest time. Because we both really enjoy listening to podcasts and we both, you know, really get along and bounce off each other quite well. But we just haven't done it because, I don't know, the idea is sort of scary and we're not
it's a big jump.
Quite sure if it would work. But we definitely, or at least I still definitely want to give that a try. And if he's willing, and we'll probably give it a couple test runs and just to see if we're up for the task.
Yeah.
But I feel like that could be really, really good. And a really good way of our audiences getting to know us a little bit better, as well as just, you know, having a laugh. I think that one idea that we had, I'm not sure if this will be the entire, you know, premise for the podcast or more of like a specialty episode we do occasionally, but one thing John and I used to do when I was like 3K subs, this wasn't for content, this was just for our own amusement, was that we would go on CSGO surf servers, which for those of you who don't know, are just community servers where people, you know, 30 people or so would be in a server and they're just chatting to each other while doing surfing in the background, like a little mini game. We'd go on these servers and we would just start hosting like a completely fake podcast or radio show completely improvised off the top of our heads. Like I would go in there, John would be in there, and I'd just be like, hello and welcome back to Fitz in the Morning Radio Hour on 97.1 FM. Today with my special guest, I've actually got John. You were a Vietnamese prostitute. How'd it go? And John would have no idea what I was talking about. Like he had no idea I was going to bring up that he was a Vietnamese prostitute, but he would just have to create this character on the spot, and we'd have to have a back and forth conversation and keep it running for as long as possible. Like he would start asking me about my like illegal cocaine practices in southern Malaysia, and I would be like, yeah, well, you know, it's been going for a couple of years now, and it's only just been shut down by government officials. And you know, we'd just create these hilarious, completely obscene and often ridiculously offensive conversations off the top of our heads in this like fake radio show interview session, and people would just sit there and listen to us and just laugh because it was just so outrageous. Out there and hilarious. So something like that I think could be quite an original idea. They could potentially become its own animal, like separate from our channels, separate from YouTube, and you know, just be a successful podcast in its own right. And I think, you know, we should give that a try and at least make it a part of what we do in the podcasting world. I think that could be quite fun and original.
Please Please do it, man. I'm begging you. It is like the way you're talking to me is you have a very good stance and everything, and you're able to like, you don't stutter. You're very fluent. Just please make some level of podcast, because I think it would really be good. And I think that you're entertaining, even like, just like not like as super hyper energetic, but like just as a, the real Fitz. I think that's just as entertaining. You're doing really well today.
Well, thanks.
Don't hear any or like stutters. So I really think that could work out really well. And that idea is super funny. And I don't think I've ever seen that before. So
awesome.
And like, by the way, use this interview as like an example. I'm sure this is going to get positively received, and use this as an example to be like, oh, people want to see this, because I think it's entertaining. I'd like to see more of, just that kind of level of podcasty, not even really funtages. I think that could be really cool.
Yeah.
I think it's something you should definitely embark on.
For sure.
Now, where would you like to see yourself in the future? It doesn't really matter how far into the future, just where would you like to be? Where would you like to see yourself?
I would like to, obviously, I think that it's probably even slightly unrealistic, but Social Blaze says it's possible for me to hit 1 million subs this year. I'm only at 450k now, but I think that as long as I continue growing at the rate I am and occasionally having big spikes, it could be done before the year's up. If not, in the high hundreds of thousands would be amazing. I don't know what's going to happen, and this year is definitely going to be a year of a bit of change with regards to what content I'm uploading and this, not necessarily the style, but there's going to be a few things that I think may be a little risky as opposed to what I've already been doing content wise. I don't know. I just want to continue growing and continue having fun, and being able to sustain myself off it is really the most important thing. And, being able to look towards the future as, I can actually continue pursuing this as a job, and, I can, start building a life outside of YouTube from YouTube.
Look, honestly, I think you should just follow your gut instinct, because from what I've been able to tell, it's worked out for you. All these scary decisions that you've had to make, you followed your gut feeling, what you want, and then it's worked out. And I think you can do this, mate. You're up for the task. I do think that you could hit 1 million subs easy, dude. Like, there's no doubt about it. At the rate that you're growing and you're providing something new, something fresh, I have no doubt in my mind that that's something that you could achieve. Because like, even like you're talking, I don't know whether this, because he sounds a lot more different when he's kind of chill. You've been making videos of Smitty on YouTube, haven't you?
Yeah.
Now that's just insane, dude. Like,
dude, that's nuts. Because I used to watch him when I was, not even making videos, right? Like, I used to watch him. So Smitty, if you're listening to this, sorry for the cringe, mate. But, it was definitely an inspiration when I was starting out. And, just to be able to hop on a call with him now and just play some games is like pretty surreal. And that's the case with a lot of YouTubers I've met. It's just nuts being able to talk to these guys in DMs or on Discord like friends, as opposed to, mentors or heroes or whatever.
Well, it's, regardless of whether Smitty's cringing to this, I'm sure Smitty has been in Skype calls with people where he's been like, holy fuck. This is someone that I'm a big fan of. I think it's just natural to just be like, Jesus Christ, what is going on with my life right now? Like if you're sitting in a Skype call with someone that you used to watch and then you're just like friends now, it's just weird. And it sinks in after a while, but it's just like one of those things where you're just thinking, what is my life right now?
Yeah.
Because I didn't think that, my channel was growing super slow. I'd get like 20 views a video, and, the fact that I'm even talking to people with 80,000, 100,000, and obviously I'm talking to you now is crazy to me.
Yeah.
And, I saw that and I was like, man, Fitz is going places. Because I definitely, Smitty's actually one of those people that was, I would say, similar situation to you. Because I know that he kind of has been blowing up a lot, like this year and maybe a little bit of last year. Yeah. I think I discovered him when he was on like 200,000, 300,000, and then like he's just growing crazy now.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was heavily involved in like the original Battlefield Funtage community, which was quite big at the time, alongside, you know, like Charboy and Azzy and the likes, just you know, that kind of funny moments in Battlefield 3 and 4 videos. And then he found himself in a position that I'm currently in now, where he has to branch out into other styles of video, and he's done that. You know, he's one of the most successful examples of achieving that, and still maintaining like a really good ratio and a good fan base and good support on anything he uploads.
Yeah.
Which is why it's great that I can talk to him now and get advice from him. Like, as you know, from creator to creator, he's like helped me out quite a bit just with just like little bits of advice here and there. You know, with regards to that sort of thing, like how to diverse your content.
Smitty the father figure.
That's right. That's
Papa
right. Smitty
Smitty
is my dad. That's right.
Now, this is a bit of a disconjointed question. Is that even a word? I don't even know. I'm rolling with it, though. This is completely separate because it's just not the same as the questions I've been asking you. How did you learn how to rap?
Well, the rapping thing was always something I never took too seriously, for the pure sakes of, you know, saving myself from cringe. You know, it was something that I never considered myself or tried to present myself as being really good at.
Yeah.
It was always more of a meme than anything else, I guess, in a way. Like, you'll see in most of my videos, I put a disclaimer up being like, look, I don't actually think I'm good at rapping. I just do this for fun. Like, please don't roast me if I'm shit. Although, I mean, I'm obviously a little bit more skilled than most at freestyle rapping, at least, because it's quite a difficult thing to do. But I've got like quite a lot of roots in improv, especially for comedy. Before I started YouTube, I was always making stuff up on the spot. I've been playing guitar for 11 years now, and I used to, actually with John in high school, me and him used to just chill out with our friends, and I'd just start playing the guitar and we'd just make up a song about whatever we saw, or, you know, some random shit, or the fact that like Daniel's a cunt or something like that. We'd just like make up a whole little like tune about it and like make it rhyme and make it funny. And we got really good at doing that and making people laugh with that. And, you know, we continued sort of, that's kind of what our entire sense of humor is based off, is just improv and bouncing off each other and making up obscene ideas and conversations and situations, just off the tops of our heads. And I actually did, you know, stand-up comedy and improvised comedy outside of the internet, like in real life, like on stage and stuff, for a short period of time during my, you know, early beginnings on YouTube. So I've got quite a bit of experience in just being quick on my feet and coming up with, you know, being witty and coming up with funny stuff on the spot. And so freestyle rapping sort of just came out of that. Like, I realized I could do it to a beat and I could be funny with it. And, you know, a lot of my channel is based off of that, you know, improv, you know, inside or outside of freestyle rapping. So
has a joke ever not landed? Like, you can tell that someone's trying to build up a joke and you're trying to improvise, and then it's like, oh, this is good, and then bam, you mess up somewhere, and then it's just like, fuck, I was beautiful.
That's the thing that you learn when you do improvised comedy, is that's the beauty of it as an art form, is that there's no pressure, because this isn't something you worked on. This is something you fabricated on the spot. And if the joke hits and it lands and it's funny, then it's hysterical. And if it doesn't hit, it's hysterical. And as long as you're a person who's capable of laughing at yourself, then you can laugh at the sheer ridiculousness of what you said. And because, you know, people realize that you're comfortable with yourself in that sense, and you're confident in yourself, they'll laugh as well. And it will be, always be a positive outlook. Like, there'll be multiple times in videos where me and John are just like saying some stupid shit or bouncing off each other, and then like John will just say some random ass shit that makes no sense, and I'll just like start laughing like, John, that made no fucking sense whatsoever, and he'll start laughing as well. And those are like the funniest moments, in all honesty.
I really like that, because I feel like it's all about improvisation and stuff like that is all about embracing your quirks and like embracing the moment. Because for me, I do stutter quite a bit. Like, well, maybe it doesn't come across here, But I feel like I change when I start recording and stuff. I stop stuttering as much as I usually do for some odd reason. Like, I stutter a lot. So sometimes I'm like talking to somebody and we're having a funny joke and then I stutter. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then like it makes them laugh because it's just like, you know, like you just look like a complete idiot. And that's the thing, like embrace it, man. Like if you stutter, make it funny because, you know, you just stuttered. Like make it apparent or just be like, oh, fuck or something, you know, like you just got to go with the moment. And I think it can be funny either way. You know, like if someone's improvising and then someone fucks up, that can be even more hilarious than if the joke actually hits.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really important social skill is just to be confident in yourself and know that if you fuck up in a social setting, that it's really not the end of the world and that everyone does this on a daily basis. And so, and if people laugh at you, they're most likely not laughing at you. They're laughing like, you know, with you.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got to just be humble and accept that failures happen and, you know, just be comfy with yourself and just fucking laugh it away. And that's, you know, the best way of dealing with most awkwardness that people seem to get hung up on in life, I think.
Well, you got to realize that like when you do something awkward, everyone's just thinking, thank God it wasn't me. You know, like everyone's so worried about themselves that they don't have time to think about whether you screwed up. And often if you find that something awkward happened, the other person doesn't remember that at all. I bet you if I talked to Pyrocynical and said, do you remember that cringy joke I said? He probably wouldn't remember.
No,
I would say, no, there's no way he would have been able to remember. Because for him, it was just like, whatever. He stopped thinking about it. So would you consider yourself... This isn't a boast. Don't feel like you're boasting or anything. Would you say that you feel like you're very comfortable with who you are? Would you say that there's periods in your life where you haven't been very comfortable? Do you feel like you've accepted who you are and you really embrace your quirks and your personality?
I don't know. I think that, well, in the past, I've like certainly struggled with like a lot of anxiety actually. And that, you know, I often overanalyze things in my own head despite everything I just said and like, you know, how I'm definitely confident in my own humor, definitely in cases where it's a person that I don't know or a person that I'm not sure like how they react to stuff. Like I need to really kind of get to know people, I think, before I am like totally comfy because
same with me.
You know, I'm a guy who kind of like relies a lot on humor to relate to people, and if I'm not sure how they respond to certain jokes, then I feel a little
awkward.
A little awkward, I guess, about just like how to handle the situation kind of thing. You know, it's like I need to make sure I can make them laugh and I don't say the wrong thing sort of thing. But, you know, it's something that I feel like I've gotten a lot better at dealing with over the years. And certainly I'm a lot more comfortable with myself now than I would have been when I was like 15, when I was just so inside my own head and like always over analyzing social situations and freaking out about little details. When in reality, you've just got to realize that sort of...
life is ridiculous.
Like life is just ridiculous and you've got to not overanalyze things and just kind of let go to an extent and just say what comes to mind and just contribute yourself as a person and know that even if you say something that doesn't agree with what they said, even if you say something that they don't personally find funny or that they don't accept or that they don't like, that's normal. And it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It just means that you're different people and you're, you know, getting to know each other and that's perfectly fine. And that's, you know, something that I certainly acknowledge a lot these days and that I am able to be a lot more coherent socially than what I was because of that.
I feel like we're a little bit similar in these kinds of things because for me, you got to realize that everybody has like a different sense of humor. And I always use humor to try and relate to people, as you said, and like make things comfortable. Because if you're acting ridiculous and you act like you don't have a care in the world, it often makes any situation so much more mellow and chill. If you don't care and you just kind of put yourself out there, you don't care if you look stupid, it always makes it so much more comfortable to talk to people.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, everyone just wants people to like them. Yeah. And people always only analyze their side of that. Like, I want people to like me. When in reality, everyone else in the room just wants people to accept them and people to like them and people to laugh at their jokes. Yeah. So being open about that not in a literal sense, but in a like social sense where like, you're clearly just comfortable and you understand that and whatever, you'll be able to relate to people a lot better and connect with people a lot better, I think.
I totally agree. You just got to let loose and just realize like how ridiculous this world is that we live in. Like the kind of shit that happens, you gotta think like, this is just, how can anybody take themselves seriously when you live on this planet? So I just think you nailed the head, God, Jesus Christ, just example there. I just had a stroke there or something like that. You nailed the...
Hell yeah, my guy.
You nailed the nail.
Hit the nail on the head.
Fuck me, dude. See, that's the kind of shit that happens.
No worries, man.
So I'm glad that happened. I'm happy because that's a good example of like when you just fuck up. But it's funny and you just laugh it off.
Yeah, man, we're getting deep today. We're getting deep with this shit. Some real life advice with Splur and Fitz right now.
Yeah, exactly. We're all getting very deep with this. I know this has been a long interview, so we're going to wrap it up with a bit of a test. Because I know, dude, I've got some really banger questions here, mate. Like these questions, I'm sure one of them is going to fuck you up. And if it doesn't, I'm super surprised. Okay. This is one that my dad memorized, and it's been a family joke ever since. Can you name the longest New Zealand town name?
Town name or city name?
It was a town name, I think.
Okay.
It's huge. It is fucking huge, Fitz.
I know. I think I've heard of like what one you're talking about, but I just have no idea. Like it's like is it one that begins with a WH? Like a funga something? Or no?
No, but I will put it down in the Discord.
Papa Ruki.
I will put it down in the Discord so we can see whether you can actually say this. That is the longest town name, apparently.
Tamata Whakatangi Hanga Kakoi O Tamati Turi Puki Paka Piki Mangare Horu Nuki Pokai Whenu Kitana Hau. It's like Maori, which is like the indigenous people here. For those who don't know, it's like a different language. It's
so long, dude. You have no idea. Like this is a town name.
What were they thinking, man? That's just unreasonable. How are you supposed to put that on a resume or a CV or any kind of form?
I don't understand how anybody lives there and they can cope with this.
How do you go to the doctors with that shit? They ask you where you're from.
And it's like you got like a specific box to like fill.
How do you sign up?
And it's only this big.
How do you sign up to like billing with that kind of thing? Like you got to write your address and like, oh shit, no room in the box left.
What were they thinking, man? I don't understand why you do that to yourself. That's just like, that's ridiculous. So that's my favorite question. It's just like, you guys seriously look it up. It's longer than you would think. Obviously Fitz just said it then. It's crazy. Now these ones you might not know. I fully understand that, but there's some multiple choice in here. If you have GNZM after your name, you have received the
GNZM. Is the first word for government. I have no idea. GNZM after your name. Like a title?
It's not like initials, I don't think. It's just like there's like it's not initials. Let me just say that. You might not be able to get this. It's a bit
I have no idea.
New Zealand Order of Merit. That's what it means.
Oh yeah. I knew it would be some kind of like, some kind of award or some kind of status.
Yeah.
For New Zealand, but
the more you know.
Order of Merit. Got it.
New Zealand Order of Merit. You probably won't need, unless you're going to get like knighted or something in New Zealand, unless they're like...
Oh yeah, I plan on it, dude.
Yeah.
You watch out. That's going to happen.
Fitz has brought so much people to the country of New Zealand that we want to make him in charge of tourism. That's what you're going to be in the future. I'm calling it right now. All right, so this next one, you might be able to answer it, or you might not. Are you comfortable with geography?
Oh, ish. Yeah, let's go.
Which of these countries does not have a greater population than New Zealand? Uruguay. Don't know how to pronounce that.
Uruguay.
Okay, there you go. So you're obviously a step ahead of me. Norway, Denmark, Hong Kong.
Does not have a greater population. So it's like a small population.
Yeah.
Denmark.
Nope.
Fuck. I knew it wouldn't be Hong Kong. I knew it wouldn't be fucking Norway. Is it Norway?
No.
Is it Uruguay?
Yeah, it's Uruguay.
Oh, well, that was like too obvious for me to pick it. I was like, I want to say Uruguay, but it's probably not. It's like, it's too obvious.
That was gold. Just Denmark? Nope. Fuck. Alright. That's great. Okay. Good try though. You get a gold star for effort.
Hell yeah.
Now, are you a big film critic? Do you love films?
I enjoy films, but I don't watch films very often.
Okay. Which of these films was not filmed in New Zealand? The Last Samurai, Whale Rider, Jackie Brown, Once Were Warriors.
I'm going to go Last Samurai.
No.
Fuck. Is it the Jackie one?
Yeah, Jackie Brown. Good job.
Yeah, that's the only one I haven't heard of. I've seen Last Samurai. I saw it in school, which is probably why we saw it in school, because it was filmed partially in New Zealand, I guess.
Yep.
Damn it.
Well, I mean, hey, you got that one the second try. That's good enough. Okay, now this one is, you probably won't know the answer unless, I guess, you've worked for the Special Air Service. But I guess you can try and guess it. So, the motto of the New Zealand Special Air Service is Death from Above, Fear Not, Faith Resolves, Who Dares Wins, or Ever Faithful.
I'm gonna go with the second one. What was the second one again?
Fear Not, Faith Resolves.
What was the third one?
Who Dares Wins.
What was the fourth one?
Ever Faithful.
I'm gonna go with the fourth one, just because I know it's not Death from Above, and the other two are way too corny.
Not Death from the Above. Okay, that's okay. So it's not
no
Ever
way
Faithful.
that the New Zealand Air Force is called Death from Above. Fuck that. Sorry, what was it?
I totally agree. I think that'd be a little bit weird if that was the name of the special. That was the motto.
That's like some Hitler shit right there, dude.
That's a little bit weird. Okay, so it's not Ever Faithful.
Okay.
Do you want me to name the others?
So is it the second one? It's fully the second one, right?
It is not Fear Not, Faith Resolves.
Fuck. So it's the third one.
Who Dares Wins. Apparently that's it.
God
Who
damn it.
Dares Wins.
That's fucking retarded, dude. Fuck the Air Force, man.
You let Fitz down, Air Force. You need to change it to the... Which one did you want?
Should be something like Brum Brum in my big old plane, or something like that, you know? So something nice and friendly.
New Zealanders don't ever take themselves very seriously. I don't know why it's like super hardcore. I thought it would have been a bit of a joke. But no, it's Who Dares Wins. But you wanted it to be Ever Faithful.
Yeah. That's okay. That's probably better, I think. But it's not great either.
I think this one sounds like it's from Overwatch. Fear Not, Faith Resolves. That sounds like it's from Overwatch.
Cheer up, love. Faith resolves.
Anyway, that was really good. You did really well in the interview.
Thanks.
I definitely pursue this podcast idea. You did excellent today.
Awesome. We were going for like an hour and a half. I can't believe it.
Yeah. Well, this is a long interview. I'm really sorry if I took up a lot of your time.
No, it's okay, dude. Happy to do it.
But thank you for coming, Fitz. It's been great. Hopefully, a lot of the viewers were able to gain some insight into your life.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we might see you again on this channel, possibly.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. All right. See you later, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.